Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and this is Massive Darkness. Now in this episode, we want to clear up just one thing from the prior one that I missed. And essentially we had Whisper kill off a mob boss. I gave Whisper the 3 XP, but I forgot to give our Battle Wizard the 3 XP. So let's do that right off the hop. And again, it doesn't affect gameplay because I didn't hit 5, so I couldn't have spent anything in order to purchase an additional ability. So we're okay there. Now we're going to go ahead and continue resolving this event card that I pulled at the very end of the last video and move on. So this says Agent Patrol. Search the current level guard deck for an agent card and spawn it on the current level token. So that would be right here where I'm standing. There's a level 2 token, if you don't know, underneath of me. Or I shouldn't say underneath me, underneath that massive spider. And then it says shuffle the deck afterwards. If there's no agent left in the deck, in this case the deck we're going to be shuffling is the guard 2 because we're in the level 2 area. Then we spawn a mob card instead. So I'll discard this for now because we know we're doing this right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guard deck. We need to go through this essentially until we find an agent card. And okay, that was really easy. So there's really no point in shuffling these cards because we pulled an agent card at the beginning. So I might as well just put them back where they were because I don't know what they are anyway. So we're pulling a dwarf agent and we're going to go ahead and play this guy right here. He's got himself 3 health. Times 2 heroes is 6 health. He's got himself an ability that says at the end of the enemy's phase, spawn a guard card essentially on the level token of this tile. Spawn a guard on the level token of this tile. Yes, and that isn't good because essentially he's going to be calling reinforcements as long as he's alive. That's really bad. And he's also got a really good defense of green and blue. He's also got 3 attack dice, which is nothing to sneeze at. We also have to grab his miniature as well as a treasure 2 card to go along with him because we're on level 2. We pulled a War Mace. This does not look pleasant because I'm pretty sure he could probably use... Yep, he can use that. It's a melee weapon. If the attack does not wound the enemy, you may re-roll all the dice 1 additional time. Good gosh, I do not want to be fighting this guy or have him attack me. Jeez, that's insane. So he's rolling essentially on his attacks 4 yellow dice and a red dice. That is an extremely strong agent. So we're going to go ahead and find our agent. He looks like he's got 2 short swords. So he's probably buried in here somewhere. There he is, right in the middle. Perfect. 2 short swords. That looks like him. We're going to put him in our level 2 tile area. Perfect. Okay. So that resolves the agent kind of ability. The other thing we're going to do right now is, we've gone ahead actually and finished the event phase, of course, and now we need to actually move the first player token from Whisper over to Elias. So we'll put that there. We're good. And then... what's next? I guess we start a brand new round. Now let's talk a little bit about strategy here. Now things have gotten a little bit crazy in this middle section, as you can see. The aim of the game is for us to get onto this exit tile. Now technically in the rule book, it just says to escape the dungeon. It's not very specific in how you escape the dungeon. Like, do you move onto this exit tile and spend an extra action to leave? Do you, can there be monsters there? Can there not be monsters there? Well, actually, apparently after looking into it, in the Lava and Crystals book or quest book, it actually talks about how you escape a dungeon, which is really odd because it's not shown in good detail for the tutorial scenario in the Massive Darkness game, which is really odd. So in quests 1, 2, 3, 4, and onwards, I think they get into specifics about how you're supposed to exit, but in the tutorial it just says leave the dungeon, which leaves it wide open for interpretation. So anyway, looking at the Lava and Crystal quests, I found a quote that said, you may escape the exit if you are in the exit zone at the end of your activation and there are no enemies in that zone. Okay, so that's really important, and what's really important about that is it's at the end of your activation. Now, technically, based on the game rules and how a game round works, you can see the player's phase starts the game round off, it goes all the way through, and then right here a counterattack happens. And this is important because a counterattack happens at the end of his activation. All surviving enemies the hero attacked are activated and try to attack him. Now, essentially, if I go ahead and try to attack any of these enemies on the way out of the dungeon, they essentially, in my opinion, would get a chance to counterattack, which wouldn't be good. I would like to take pot shots at the spider just for the fun of it as we ditch out of this dungeon, but I believe the counterattack would actually trigger, and I have no reason to want that. Now, if the counterattack triggers, we do have enough health on Whisper, and we have enough health on Elias to deal with it. The one person that's worthwhile attacking in this whole situation is the spider. And the reason is because if we can get our characters here or here, do our attacks, whatever, the spider is only going to attack from range as long as we're far enough away. Unless we're in the same spot as it, it'll counterattack us in the same spot. We got to remember that counterattacks always focus on the person that inflicted the attack in the first place. So let's just get started and I'll kind of talk you through my thoughts as we go. So here's my plan. Elias actually isn't in this lit area. I moved him. He was in this dark area at the end of the last video, so I do apologize for that. I think I bumped him. So he was here at the end of the last video. So we're going to start from right there. So essentially we have 3 actions with our battle wizard. So we're going to take our battle wizard and we're going to jump into open area. So we're going to kind of head through the main door into the hallway area. Now from here we have a couple choices. We could attack. You know, at the end of the day, I do kind of want to zap the spider for fun. It's going to make him mad in the end and he'll counterattack me and stuff like this, but it's not a big deal because as long as I'm not in the same space as it, he won't use his melee and he won't come running at me when I end up over here later, which is my plan. When he tries to counterattack me, he'll end up using his ranged over his melee because I'm one space away. So in other words, he won't come running up to me. So that's the only plus there. The only downside actually I just noticed is he has an ability that's pretty incredible. It says ranged stun. If he gets a BAM stun and place the target in the giant spider zone. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? Scratch that. I'm not going to bother attacking him. That is not worth my while. He's going to essentially keep us. He could drag us out of the exit zone at the end of our activation and prevent us from winning. So you know what? Scratch that strategy. I'm not going that way. So we're going to go ahead and activate him with his 3 actions. So 1, 2 to come out into the hallway. I'm going to simply do a teleport, which is going to get me here. And you might be wondering, teleport 2 costs an action, as we saw in previous videos. So I have 1 action remaining. You know, there's really nothing else I can do, and I have no reason, you know, to do anything else at this point. So I'm quite happy to just sit put the way I am. Because really my plan to maybe take pot shots at the spider, as I just explained, is a bad one, because when the counterattack happens, he could potentially suck me from the exit tile into his zone and then we can't win, and they've got all the time in the world to keep hitting us with damage, which I don't want. So basically I'm happy with our wizard ending his turn there. He didn't inflict any damage on anybody, so no counterattacks are going to happen. So now we can move over to Whisper. And Whisper, I mean, I would do the same thing. I would attack and bail. But again, counterattacks would cause risk, because if I tried to hit, let's say, the agent and I ran into this space, the agent on his turn would end up showing up in my space with me and trying to fight me. And that's something that, like, I really don't want to happen. Because at the end of the day, based on the rules that I read, there can't be any enemies in that zone. So essentially, if I anger this guy by attacking him before I do my slippery move to get out, he's just going to show up in this last tile here, and then we can't win. And then I've got to deal with the spider hitting me for range. So you know what, guys? I'm going to keep it real simple. It's going to be a really short end here, but essentially I'm just going to be real greasy, and I'm going to use my slippery skill, which is on my Whisper character, which allows me to escape a monster's area and just move to the exit tile. And we are going to say, you know what, enough's enough. We didn't really go through here and grab all the treasure. I know you guys were thinking, like, let's not leave any door uncracked. Well, you know what? I cracked the door. I just didn't want to sit around in here and check out that treasure as mountains of enemies build up out in front of the door. I think it would have been kind of a nightmare scenario. So at the end of the day, because I've leveled up enough with my Battle Wizard, although my Battle Wizard could always from the beginning teleport, whereas I had to actually gain the slippery skill with the Night Runner. But regardless, guys, we got to the end of the dungeon. We were able to beat it. And truthfully, if we had stuck around, I think we probably could have killed off the spider. I think the agent would have posed a little bit more problems, especially with the 3 yellow-red dice, but it was a blast. I really enjoyed this game. It was fun. Again, we were only playing these videos across 2 tiles, and there was quite a bit of decisions in terms of where to go and what to do. Obviously, I'm not going to be playing that I'm planning on anyway, playing anything further. There are quests that have 6 and 5 and 4 tiles. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. Obviously, the dark areas, like we talked about in the previous videos, would come really into play, especially when you're not in range. So one of the other reasons that I had my wizard over here at the end of last turn was to let you guys know how important it is to be not only in a dark area but out of range if you want to avoid an enemy's attack normally. But if you happen to have one of your heroes in the same space with an enemy, and I was over here with Elias and I made some attacks, I could just move into this lit area and I'd be fine, because a spider is ranged and cannot hit me, because ranged only moves in, you know, straight lines. So then he'd try his melee, so he'd try to move to me, but he can't because Whisper's kind of taking care of the spider at the moment. So, you know, this is the safe or quick and easy escape in this case, because I have someone keeping the spider busy. But in other cases, if Whisper was over here and I had done a pot shot of magic, I wouldn't want to have just moved into the light. I would have wanted to run to the dark. Because then at that point, based on the game rules, which is a very important one hidden in the rulebook, it says that if you are out of range and you are out of sight, in other words, in a unlit area where you're in darkness, essentially, the roaming monster will not counterattack at all, not even a little bit. So that's pretty incredible. That's a great tidbit to remember for future plays, because you can use that when these missions become larger and grow in size and stuff like that. So anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed the series. The showcase is done now essentially, but I will be doing a component overview in the coming days and potentially week or so to just wrap up my thoughts on the game. Of course, I've played the tutorial scenario. What I'll probably do is play a bigger game outside of video so that I can get a handle on that, and then come back with my thoughts in terms of what I think about it, because there's also a story mode involved with this where you can use micro XP in order to build into your XP to more slowly progress your skills, instead of what we did where we were, you know, we gained 3 skills on both characters very, very fast. Whereas normally if you're playing story mode, we might have triggered 1 or maybe 2, but we wouldn't have been as quick up the pipe, because as you can see here, you need to rack up 5 micro XP before you even get 1 XP. So actually, we probably would have only had maybe one new ability with how much XP we got. Probably not even that. But anyway, I had a ton of fun. It was a blast. I hope I showed you guys everything you wanted to see with this game. We learned together. I really appreciate all the feedback along the way. Thanks again for watching, and look forward to the next playthrough of, well, I'm not going to tell you because it's a surprise. Until the next time, guys, keep on rolling solo.